Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new Elder Scrolls Online video with me, Sherman. Sorry, I had to clear a little bit of stuff out of my throat. But let's go ahead and get talking about what we're going to be talking about today, and that is the new sets that are coming with the update for Ascending Tide DLC and Update 33. So let's go ahead and take a look, starting with the first set. And I'm going to give my honest opinions here on just the number values and not on their use yet, because I'm still testing some of these sets. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first one, Invenerating Aura. This is one of the new Cyrodiil sets. As you can see, 4% healing taken, adds max health and adds max armor. The 5-piece. When you deal direct damage, you have a 10% chance to create an area under the target that detonates after 1 second, applying Invenerating Aura for 10 seconds. Invenerating Aura lowers the health recovery, mag recovery, and stam recovery of enemy players by 129 per player hit. This effect can occur once every 15 seconds. So it's definitely made for disrupting ball groups or large groups, but I can also see where this would be effective even in battlegrounds, because of, like, that's 300, almost 400 recovery you're removing from somebody, you know. And if there's 4 people, you're looking at over 500 resource recovery removed, which means they're not going to be able to sustain as well. This is a definite FU set, like, and not even an FU set. This is an FO set, like F off set. Back off. I'm gonna mess you up because I'm gonna screw with you. It's a really good set. I mean, the way it looks numerically, like the way the 5-piece sounds, it does sound like a very powerful set in PvP. It wouldn't work in PvE, of course, because it's enemy players. But in PvE, this is going to be a really good set for somebody to run. One, it gives you 4% healing taken. It does give you the max health. It does give you the armor. But it's the fact that it gives you a way to deter people from recovering resources. And in PvP, that is essential. So this is a really great set for that. And then if you think about it, if you hit a ball group with this, and let's say there's 12 people, or even 10 people, that's 1,290 resources they just lost. So it can be a very powerful set in both arenas and battlegrounds. Alright, moving on to Glacial Guardian. Now this is the one from the Coral Area. This is one of the new dungeons coming in the DLC. So the 2, 3, and 4-piece, first one adds armor, the next one adds stamina, the next one adds health recovery. And then when you block an enemy within 8 meters of you, tether to them for 8 seconds. While tethered, deal frost damage every second the enemy's touching the tether, and causes them to have 200% increased status effect. The tether breaks the target if the target moves more than 12 meters away. This effect can occur once every 12 seconds and the damage scales off your max health. So I do apologize for having to do that, guys, but I'm still getting over COVID, and it isn't easy. So the nice thing about this set is, one, it does deal frost damage. So, and I mentioned this before, it seems like they're releasing sets that benefit certain classes more effectively than others. Like this on a warden, especially one that's using a lot of ice abilities already. Like if they're using the gripping shards, which scales off your max health, the damage does, and it has a 100% chance of applying a status effect. Then you get another 200% on top of that. It makes applying minor brittle super easy. So this could be a really good set for a warden tank. And the fact that wardens don't have like a lot of the same things, like say the DK does, that has an increase to resistances, or like the Templar does. This gives them an extra bit of armor plus a little bit of stam, max stam, and then they get that health recovery. And yeah, on a warden, health recovery isn't as a big a deal as it is on a DK, but it's that benefit of the frost damage and then application of the brittle status effect that makes it so powerful. The other thing is you only have a 4 second downtime between the end of the effect and the reapplication. So it's you've got this really good balanced set here that has almost 100% uptime that is going to be really effective for somebody playing a Warden tank more than any of the other classes. It's not saying that other classes can't use a Frost Staff and get the benefit of applying Minor Brittle. It's just the Warden has an easier time of applying it because they get 100% for their own skills. Getting another 200% because of this makes that more effective. And then if you are running an Ice Staff, it makes it even more effective. So I really like this. I like that they're gearing a lot of sets towards, and in this update, it seems more towards Warden and Sork. But I really like that they're adding more frost damage type sets. Next up is Griffin's Reprisal, another one for, Reprisal, which comes from the Coral Ares, same as the Glacial Guardian. This set adds on the 2-piece and 4-piece crit chance, and that is a both spell and weapon crit. And also the 3-piece, which adds offensive penetration, which is both spell and physical pen. So right off the bat, it's got a good combination of the 2 to 4-piece stats, which makes it good. It doesn't make it great, it makes it good. It makes it useful, especially for somebody playing a DPS. But the benefit of this set is when you deal critical damage, you or an ally can activate the Griffin's Reprisal synergy. Okay? It doesn't say that yet. On the enemy for 8 seconds, causing a small griffin to fly in and deal. And look at this. I don't have that much stamina or weapon and spell damage, but 11,358 bleed damage over 10 seconds to enemies within 5 meters. This synergy can be applied once every 20 seconds, and it scales off the higher of your weapon and spell damage. Now, the reason why this set can be good and will be good is it is a synergy set. We don't have a lot of sets, gear sets, that offer a synergy. So what this does is, in the Undaunted skill line, you have a passive that gives you resources whenever you activate a synergy. Now, some synergy skills do give you even more resources, but the fact that this is a synergy that you can get a little bit of resources back and you can apply this massive bleed over 10 seconds is what's going to make this set good. It does have a 20-second cooldown, but all synergies do. You can't activate a synergy but once every 20 seconds, and so even like if you activate this synergy, you can activate another one within a few seconds. You just can't activate this one. But the fact that, like, if you're in a trial group and you're applying this synergy, everybody in the group can activate this synergy every 10 seconds. So you can have 100% uptime with the Griffin, which makes it really powerful. So it's a really good set, not only for dungeons, but also dungeon play. Or not only trials, but dungeon play as well. It's got a good balance, so I like it. And it's got some insane damage. And I've already got a build coming out with this set in mind. Don't worry, guys. Alright, next up is the another Cyrodiil set, Hue and Sunder. This has to be one of the most powerful sets that they're adding to this update. And it's because of what it does. So first off, 2, 3, and 4-piece. Max stam on the 2 and 3-piece. 4-piece adds weapon and spell damage. Again, that's good for, a tank, a DPS, anyone really. But when you deal damage with a heavy attack, which means more tanks would have access to this set, or tanks would more likely have access to the set, but it's not saying a DPS couldn't use it. But when you deal damage with a heavy attack, gain 1,236 offensive penetration for each enemy within 8 meters of the target for 10 seconds. This effect can occur once every 7 seconds. This can have 100% uptime. Now, this is another ball group destroyer, because if you hit a ball group with this set, that means everybody in that ball group, let's say there's 12 people in a tight 8-meter radius, which can happen, especially at like an entrance to a gate, or inside of outside of a tower that at a flag or something, you can catch 12 people standing around in an 8-meter radius. That's gonna be 12,300 and some, or no, it's gonna be 16,000 and something resistances you just strip from all of them. So it makes it a very powerful set, in not only in PvE, but then when you take it into a trial. And even if it's only on a boss, if that boss summons ads and those ads get close, or even in a dungeon, you can actually take advantage of this set by removing even more of their resistances, making it to where they take the full damage that they should take easier. So this is a really powerful set either way, PvE or PvP. And I hate to say it, a lot of people are going to see this and be like, that's too powerful. I think this is needed. I know a lot of people are going to argue that point, but ball groups are a pain in the ass in PvP, in Cyrodiil. But even in arenas, like, this would be a great thing, because if you're fighting in arena, you're fighting against two teams. In deathmatch, this would be a great set. In Capture the Flag, it would be a great set. Because even if you only have like 6 enemies, that's still 6,000 and something resistance you're stripping from them, from their 25 to 35k resistance. So it's a really good all-around set that has purposeful use anywhere in the game. So I really like this. I'm glad they added a set like this, because it adds a new aspect to the game that we don't have. You know, a new play style. And not even just a play style, it adds a new element to play styles that we don't have. So it's just that nice addition. Excuse me, if this is not anything of importance. It isn't by any standards, so I'm going to hang up or discount the call. Alright, moving on. Malagalig Maelstrom. This is a cool set too. I like this set. So, first off, 2-piece Max Magic, a 3-piece Healing Done, 4-piece weapon and spell damage, so definitely healer set. A lot of people are going to say that because it's got the healing done. But the other thing is that you can use this on anyone. Stamina, Magicka, Hybrid, Tank, Healer, Damage Dealer. Anyone who can carry a heal. So like if you're playing a Stamina DPS and you're using a lot of Vigor, there's a chance you're going to be overhealing people. So this set can work with anyone. That's the reason why I like it. But it's going to be more effective on a healer because of its 5-piece bonus, which is on overhealing yourself or a group member with a direct heal. So, unfortunately, Vigor doesn't work here. But for a Stamina Warden, with the burst heal that they have, this could be a really good set, especially after a healer drops a heal on the group to get everybody, like a couple dot heals, gets everybody up. They hit that burst heal on everyone. Boom. Now all those people they apply that burst heal to become something powerful. So applying Malagalig's Maelstrom to, if you overheal somebody with a direct heal, apply Malagalig's Maelstrom to the target for 6 seconds. That deals shock damage to the enemies within 7 meters. This damage is based on 33% of the overhealed amount up to 3,300. This effect can occur once every 10 seconds. Remember when I said it seems like they're adding a lot of sets that affect certain class types? Well, I mentioned the Stamina Healer, or the Stamina Warden. Well, the Stamina Warden has a Stamina Heal that they can take from the Nature's Balance Path, or the Nature's Embrace, or whatever it is, from the Nature's Path, in the middle. And they can morph it into a Stamina Burst Heal. So if you're playing in a group, you could use this to your advantage and get that extra 3,300, damage going off for 6 seconds. And the fact that it has a 10-second reapplication from this, and with the 6-second total activation time, that means 4 seconds downtime, and then you can reapply it. That means this thing would have a pretty decent uptime, so it makes your group a weapon. So not only does it work for any healer running this, but it also works really good with a Stamina Warden healer. And people will say, why would they need the Max Magicka? Well, they don't need Magicka to cast that skill. but they do need magicka for other abilities they might want to use, so this could play into that. On top of that, like a hybrid warden would be really great with this set. A warden healer with this set would be really good. A Templar healer using this set. Anyone with a burst heal would work really good with this set. And that's what makes it so good, is it gives your group greater DPS because you're applying more DPS to the group by making them shock rods. So I think it's a really cool set, and the fact that it has a 7 meter radius from the person makes it even more powerful. So it's a really good set to use in those situations where you might need it. Now, I'm not going to show Monster Mass yet. We're going to skip over that and go to Rallying Cry. This is another Cyrodiil set. And this one, in my opinion, is probably the most unique set. So Rallying Cry is a Cyrodiil set. The 2-piece and 4-piece crit chance, 3-piece max magicka. So, while Battle Spirit is active, critically healing yourself or an ally causes you and up to 11 group members within 12 meters to gain 300 weapon and spell damage and 1650 critical resistance for 20 seconds. Each member affected reduces the weapon and spell damage by 15 and the crit resistance by 83. This effect can happen every 15 seconds. So it's got 100% uptime because it's got 20 seconds of duration with 15 seconds of reapplication. And all you have to do is critically heal. So great for healers in Cyrodiil, but better for healers in like Imperial City or in because in Imperial City I don't run with groups bigger than 4, because if you have more than 4 people, it's a lot. It like the only time I run with more than 4 people is when I'm running excuse me, is if I'm in Imperial City during the event. If it's not during the event and it's the rest of the time, I try to run 4-man groups in there because of how good the rewards are from that place. Like the tri-stats, you can get them for Telbar stones. The new monster sets are going to be really good for this. Everything. But it's the fact that it works really good. It will work better in small groups of 4 because you're only losing 15. So if you take that 15, you're going to lose 60 of the 300 weapon and spell damage. That's still going to leave you 240 weapon and spell damage. So in 4-man groups like Battlegrounds and, like I said, Imperial City play, this is a great set. If you're playing in Cyrodiil, if you're playing in a 12-man group, you're going to lose 160 weapon and spell damage, which leaves you 140, which really isn't a lot. And then you're going to lose, like, I think it's like 400 and something, or no, see, 1283. You're going to be losing like 11,000 something of the crit resist. So it's really like, or 1100 and something crit resist. It's really not like worth having 12 people. But in a small group, this set, even in Cyrodiil, will be powerful. And that's what makes it such a good set. I mean, you're only losing like 300 and something with 4 people, but when you're with 12 people, you're losing a lot more. So there's positives and negatives to the set, either way you use it. But I like how it works. I think that this is a great set for strictly playing in that. And a lot of people have already tried to tell me, well, Battle Spirit doesn't affect Battlegrounds. Battle Spirit affects anything you do PvP-wise. Battlegrounds, Cyrodiil, and Imperial City, you get Battle Spirit applied to you. So this is great for those. All right, moving on to Spriggan's Vigor. Now this is one of the ones from the new Shipwright's Regret dungeon, and this set also has some good use to it, at least in my opinion. So 2-piece crit chance, 3-piece max stam, 4-piece weapon and spell damage. So really good on a stamina character, but also really good on a hybrid character. When you deal critical damage, you gain a stack of wild growth for 5 seconds, and it restores 100 stamina at 10 stacks max. So you'll gain over 1,000 stamina back doing this. Each stack of wild growth increases your max stamina by 222. This effect can occur every 0.5 seconds. So you can get to 2,220 max stamina added to this. Now it's not quite as good as other sets in the game that do give you max, like, extra stam, like in big bulk. I don't remember the name of the set, but there is a set in the game that drops that you can get that does, like, it's like max stam, max stam, max stam, and then this massive thing of stam. So it's like 3 things of stamina with a large thing of stam. That set's a lot better, but if you're playing a hybrid, this set's gonna be your go-to, especially for the fact if you want more of a resource that you don't really have access to. And even then, like, this, that max resource, the 222, can also be amplified by the Undaunted benefit of increased max stam. But if you're playing a Sork, you can get another 8% max stam from that. So this is, like, again, when I said, like, it seems like a lot of these sets are catering to specific classes, like benefit specific classes more than others. This works great on a sorcerer, especially a Stam Sork who's using bound armaments. He's going to get 8% max stamina. So it has its pros and cons, but it also works for anyone else. So it's a really good set overall. I like the way the functionality sounds. Again, I have tested a few of these. I'm not going to say anything about that until I show them in action, which I will be doing over the next week or so. I'm going to be showing all these sets use. But I will say this. Don't think any set that's being added as, oh, it sucks, it's garbage, it doesn't have a purpose. Like, every set has a purpose. It might not be perfect, but it has a purpose. And I like that they're doing that now. Like, a lot of the older sets I feel are neglected because they're not up to date with a lot of the newer stuff. So I hope they go back and look at a lot of the older sets. Alright, moving on. Storm Curse Revenge. Another Shipwright's Regret set. This is the, I believe, yeah, this is the Magicka set. So, the light armor set. So 2-piece max Magicka, 3-piece weapon and spell damage, 4-piece offensive penetration. Now you can use this with a stamina character. It's not just, you know, it's a light armor set. Doesn't mean it can't be used in medium or heavy armor. It can through the jewelry and weapons. So you can do a heavy armor build with this. But what I like about it is the 5-piece. When you deal shock damage, you have a 15% chance to deal 1,033 shock damage to enemies, or to the enemy and up to 2 other enemies within 5 meters. This scales off the higher of your weapon and spell damage. Now, a lot of people are going to say, but it only has a 15% chance. Has anyone ever used the blood... I forget, a Bloodthorn set or something like that? It's a monster set. It has a 6% application. That thing will fire off more than I could ever tell you guys. But it's from damage you take. This is from you applying damage. Now, who does the most shock damage in the game? A Sork. Again, this is another one of the sets that applies to the Sork. And I feel like one dungeon, the sets are geared more towards Wardens, and the other one is geared more towards Sork. And that's why the Shipwright's Regret, this set is so good, is because on a Sork, this set is overpowered. If you're running a Lightning Staff, a Sork with Liquid Lightning, that 1,033 shock damage gets amplified by 5% because you're a Sork. And then it scales off the higher of your weapon and spell damage. Again, my weapon damage and spell damage is only 2385. On one of those... You know, on a Sork, you know, if you have a lot of weapon damage or even a lot of max spell damage and you're using Liquid Lightning and you're using Wall of Elements, those 2 things right there are going to proc this a lot. But then you add in other sets that do things that can amplify that shock capability, or doing shock damage that can critically strike, because monster sets and other sets can critically strike. Now you have even greater application of shock damage. Now it becomes even more. And it says shock damage, so this means enchants as well. So there's a lot of things that you can do that make this right here even more powerful. And the fact that it does, it affects 3 targets, this is a great dungeon set. This would be great in Battlegrounds, to apply more shock damage and pressure on your enemies. It's a nice like dual spec set. It works in PvE and PvP, and it has those greater benefits. Now, right now in PvP, I don't know if we can use proc sets, but in PvE, proc sets are essential. So it's a really good proc set. I think it has its purposes. I don't know like how many people will use it, but it doesn't matter as long as it gets used. And I think a lot of Sorks who want to have that good shock damage will take advantage of it. All right, moving on. And somebody, if you're watching this, I'm referring to you. You know what I'm talking about. Like, you've been looking for a set to replace your Queen's Elegance. This would be a great set for that. All right, moving on to the final one, Turning Tide. Now, this is the last of the shipwright sets. This is the heavy armor. So, 2-piece max health, 3-piece max stam, 4-piece max health, 5-piece. When you block, you gain flowing water for 10 seconds, causing your next bash attack to deal 3,003 magic damage up to 6 enemies in 10 meters in a 10-meter line, and apply major vulnerability for 10 seconds, increasing their damage taken by 10%. This effect can occur once every 15 seconds. So one, it has great uptime. I mean, you got 10 seconds that it's activated, and it does 3,003 magic damage to up to 6 enemies in a 10-meter line, which is really good. And you apply major vulnerability for 10 seconds, which increases their damage taken by 10%, and the effect can be reapplied every 15 seconds. What else is there to say? I mean, this is a great way to drop a couple necros from your trial group, or even in your dungeon if you don't have a necro. Run this set. Now you have the ability of what a necromancer has, which is major vulnerability, which makes you a more needed person in a group because of that fact. But on top of that, like, even in like group play, like not only in dungeons or battlegrounds, or sorry, dungeons in Cyrodiil or trials, but also battlegrounds in Cyrodiil, this could be a beneficial set. This could be a beneficial set for somebody who does a lot of like world boss farming. I mean, all around, it's a good set. So it's got its purposes in all areas of the game. I like it. I think that it has its place, and it's much needed. I am tired of block sets though. So I do like it though. Really good. The one thing that I like about this is it works on the Warden, not on the Sork. Remember how I was saying, like, one dungeon seems to cater more towards Sork, and the other one, like the set wise, and the other one seems to cater more towards the Warden. Well, with this one, it's geared towards the Warden because the Warden gets 5% increase to magic damage. So this would be a good one if you want to change up the idea of your Warden tank to having something where you can apply that major vulnerability, but then you can take advantage of the 3,003 magic damage. And you got to remember that magic damage scales with your health, so it's going to be a lot bigger. So that's the nice thing about it, is it adds damage to you and your group, even though it's so small, and it's not going to be going off all the time. It's the fact that you can still do it, which makes it good. So, all right, making sure I didn't miss any other sets, because I feel like we missed... Oh, no, the Glacial Guardian was the other block set. All right. All right. So now going into the monster sets. Now, the monster sets are interesting. So we have the Baron Thirsk. This is one of the Imperial City sets. The one piece adds max stamina and stam recovery and mag recovery. That already makes it a good set, especially in PvP. It also makes it a good set for those who want to play hybrid, but I don't know like how well it would work in PvE because of what it does. So PvP, on dealing direct damage, mark a target for 6 seconds. Every 2 seconds after an explosive scamp is spawned nearby and detonates. After 1 second, dealing 865 magic damage up to 6 enemies within 4 meters. It's got a small radius, so it's not as effective as it sounds, but it does apply minor timidity for 10 seconds, draining 1 ultimate every 1.5 seconds, Each explosive scam spawn deals 100% increased damage, and the effect can occur once every 25 seconds. So, it's not a great set, and here's why. You do get that minor timidity for 10 seconds, but it's only going to reduce because of the 1.5 second time. It's only going to reduce it 3 times. So you're only going to reduce, what is it? It's like 3 or 4.5 ultimate over the duration, which isn't anything. I mean, it might stop somebody from casting an ultimate, but it's really not worth it. The 2-piece or 1-piece is great. The 2-piece isn't so good. So it's like the benefit of using this set is minimal, but it still has purpose. If they lowered the effect timer to, say, 15 seconds, this would be a better set, because it's got 6 seconds of uptime, like to get this to get the spawn of the scams, and you're gonna get 3 scamps out. Well, you're gonna get 2 scamps out, not 3, because target for 6 seconds, and then every 2 seconds after. Oh, so direct damage, mark a target for 6 seconds every 2 seconds after. So yeah, you're only going to get 2 scams. It's kind of like a bogus set. If it said it would summon a scamp after 6 seconds, and then every 2 seconds after it summoned a scamp, then it would be better. But it doesn't do that. So it's kind of a niche set. It's going to be a really niche set. But I mean, I do like the concept. I just wish it did more. All right, moving on. I'm trying to remember. This is one of the item sets from Imperial City, but it's not one of the new ones. Oh, here we go. Kargata. So Kargata is one of the other new sets. This is the one where the 1-piece adds magic and stamina. This is from the Coral Airy dungeon. So it adds Magicka and Stamina by 731. There is another set that does this. Dama House also gives you max Magicka and Stamina, but it gives you more than that. So the 2-piece. On dealing damage with a heavy attack, create a whirlwind that slowly moves forward for 8 seconds, growing 3 meters every 3 seconds. Enemies within the whirlwind take 358 shock damage and 358 physical damage every second. Allies within the whirlwind reduce their Magicka and Stamina cost by 10%. This effect can occur once every 20 seconds and scales off the higher of your weapon and spell damage. Now, the thing that's nice about this set is it plays into the Sork very well, because the Sork gets 5% increase in shock damage, 5% increase in physical damage. So it really plays into the Sork theme, and either way you go, if you're using Lightning Form or Hurricane, you can go either way, and you're going to get extra shock and or physical damage on top of that. So it's really nice that they have this, and the fact that it scales off of a heavy attack makes it really unique. But it's the other effect that makes it really good. Now, you do get 8 seconds of uptime with 12 seconds of downtime with 20 seconds of reapplication, and that's where it makes it bad. But that cost reduction for even 8 seconds could be game-changing for a lot of groups, because a lot of groups do suffer with resource management. So it could be great for groups who are learning to do trials or dungeons, to have a tank run this, or to have a group member run this, like a healer run this, because it does give the mag and stam, and they do, both of them can do heavy attacks more effectively. So it could be good either way, or it could even be good in a Sork DPS build, because of the fact that you get that shock and physical damage, and you give that group support. So either way, you're looking at a good thing. Now, I will say this: the radius of the whirlwind might be the problem, but it's also not as bad as it might look, because it grows in 3 meters every 3 seconds, so it will grow twice. It's not as effective as your Hurricane or your Lightning Storm, and it's every 20 seconds, and you're going to be reapplying those every 25. But if you reapplied them every 20, that would be, or you can reapply them every 20 seconds now, so it might be beneficial for the use with that. And the fact that it lowers everybody hit, allies within the whirlwind, and I'm not sure if that applies to you as well, but still, it's that 10% cost reduction, which can save resources. That's a big deal. Now, I don't like the 12-second cooldown, or 12-second in between time. I think that if they lowered the reapplication to 15, this set might look better. But as it is now, it's not that great. Alright, I don't think there's any more. Oh, Lady Maligda. Maligda, yeah. The Lady Maligda is the other set. This is an Imperial City set. One piece offers offensive penetration, and then the two piece. So when you deal direct damage to a target within 12 meters, create an area that after 1 second quickly moves forward and then returns, dealing shock damage and applying minor innervation for 5 seconds, causing the target to deal 10% less critical damage. This effect can occur every 15 seconds, and it scales up to higher weapon spell damage. Again, the fact that it deals, anytime you deal direct damage to a target within 12 meters, it creates an area that after 1 second quickly moves forward and then returns, dealing shock damage and applying minor innervation. Like, it's only going to apply that shock damage once, and the minor innervation, for 5 seconds. It's nice. It would be good in in Imperial City. It would be good for that, but I don't think it would be good really anywhere else, because it has a 15-second cooldown. It's one of those things you're gonna have to time, and you can't really do a lot of timing stuff. No offense to anybody who's really good at PvP. I haven't found a way to time stuff as effectively as I can in PvE. So it's really hard to say, but in PvE, like, you could hit an enemy, like in Imperial City, you could hit an NPC with this and catch a player with it. That's the thing that's nice about it, is it works off of both players and enemies, so it's just a target. So it's got a nice benefit there. It's just a matter of lining up the target to make sure you get them in this thing, so it gets that minor innervation, which makes their critical damage less effective. And I will tell you this, I run across more crit builds in Imperial City than I do in the Cyrodiil area. So I like the set. I think it has purpose, but I don't think it has like it has functionality, but I don't think it has as good a purpose as it could. So, and yeah, that's it for the A through M. Let's go take the N through Z, and we will start at the very top, of course, with Nazare. Now, this is by far the most broken set in the newest update. This needs to be looked at. So, 1 piece, max health, 2 piece. When you use an ultimate ability, the closest 6 enemies within 12 meters have a damage over time, major debuffs, and minor debuffs applied to them, extended by 1 second per 25 ultimate spent. I have looked at this, and that is 20 seconds added. I know a lot of people are going, how? Well, 4 times 5 is 20. Like, that's 20 seconds that you're going to get added to the damage over time, the major debuffs, and minor debuffs. Well, some damage over time abilities have minor debuffs applied to them. They have major debuffs applied to them. And any major or minor debuff that's already on the enemy, it's going to get amplified by another 20 seconds. With this set, all you need to do is have an organized group that already calls out stuff and times stuff and everything like that, and use this. Like, you pop your Warhorn, and those enemies within the closest 6 enemies within 12 meters get this applied to them. In some trials, this set's going to be overpowered. In some dungeons, it's going to be overpowered. In, like, Battlegrounds, Cyrodiil, things like that, like, I don't see it being that used there, but in dungeons and trials, and even in Overland, like doing the dragon event or elsewhere event, fighting dragons during events and stuff, like, this could be a really powerful set, and a little too powerful. It has purpose, but it needs a cooldown. It needs a you can only apply this every so often. And I would literally make this every 30 seconds or every 1 minute because it is too powerful. So I like the set. I think it's too powerful. That's my opinion. But it is cool. And it comes from Shipwright's Regret. The next one is Nanatuk. Nanatak. This is one of the set. This is from Imperial City. So this one adds armor and then the 2-piece. On dealing frost damage, create a frozen area under the target for 6 seconds. Enemies in the area take 456 frost damage and gain a stack of Chilling Bite, which applies a 25% snare for 4 seconds. Gaining 4 stacks, the enemy is immobilized and gains Major Brittle for 4 seconds, causing the target to take 20% increased critical damage. This effect can occur once every 15 seconds, and it scales off the higher weapon or spell damage. So, again, it's a Warden. It's definitely clearly built for a Warden tank. But it could also work for a Warden, like, Frost Staff person who's looking for some extra armor. The fact that, like, you're not going to find a lot of people in PvP stacking in one place for the 4 seconds, and the fact that it applies this, you get the Chilling Bite, which applies this 25% snare for 4 seconds, and then after gaining 4 stacks, the enemy is immobilized, and you gain 4 seconds of Major Brittle. So what's going to happen is in the first 6 seconds, like within the 6-second time, the first 4 seconds is where this needs to be used. Because then you'll get the 4 stacks and you'll get the major brittle. This will be great for boss encounters, like in Imperial City boss encounters, or world boss encounters, or trial boss encounters, or dungeon boss encounters. It won't be good in PvP. So I think the concept of this set is there. It has its purpose. And the fact that it would work on anybody, any tank whatsoever, makes it powerful, but the 15-second cooldown is the killer. Like, if this thing had a 10-second reapplication every 10 seconds, it would be better. But the fact that it has such a large gap between 6 and 15, what is that, 8 seconds? That's a lot of, that's almost 9 seconds. Like, that's a lot to go, okay, when can I already used it, I gotta get this off again. But the fact that, yes, enemy bosses can't have stairs applied to them, but it doesn't matter because it still applies the Chilling Bite, which will apply the snare, but it will, the Chilling Bite should still apply to bosses. And then on top of that, you should get the 4 stacks, which will then immobilize or apply the Major Brittle on a boss. So it's got its purpose, it's got its use, and it's got its functionality. It just doesn't have a great uptime, and that's where I think a lot of people will look at this set and say it's not that good, but in reality it is really good. Even with the 15 seconds, it's really good, because 9 seconds isn't really as, it seems like a long time, especially in some fights, but it's really not. So I like it. Alright, I don't remember if there is another one in here, but we will look. Nope, that's it. Those are the monster sets and the new gear sets. And now you got to see this, the actual damage, not just me reading what they said on the PTS patch notes. I actually got to show you the physical sets. And I can say this, all the sets are good, minus some of them being overpowered and some of them having too much purpose with too ease of use, and then some having good purpose without enough use capability. It's like they do really good with some sets. I'm not gonna lie, some sets are too good, and then some sets are okay, and then some sets are just like, all right, they're cool, but I wouldn't really use it because of this 20-second downtime or 12-second downtime. Like when you get into the bigger number downtime, like between the end of the skill's effect and its reapplication, that right there is what kills a lot of the sets. When sets have 100% uptime, are easier to apply. It's one of the reasons why Reliquin is so used. It's so easy to keep applied and to build stacks. It's one of the reasons why Advancing Yodokai is still such a popular set. It's so easy to get the extra critical damage because you can gain those stacks super fast, especially if you have a lot of, your light attack weaving and applying your things. You can build those stacks really fast again. So some of these sets have purpose. I mean, great purpose, but they're and great functionality. They just don't have great use, and I think that's what kills a lot of these sets, right out the door. But I do think a lot of them have their place, and they have their purpose, and they have their uses, and they have their functionality, and they're good all around. It's just they could do better, and that's just my opinion. So tell me, guys, what did you think of the new sets? Did you like any of them? Do you think any of them are going to be used, or whatever? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. I will look at them and try to reply as quickly as I can. I do spend a lot of time on my computer, so I do have time to reply, so it shouldn't be a problem. But remember, I do play a lot of do a lot of gaming, so I might not see your post right away. It might be a few hours after you post it, but I will try to reply. Other than that, I mean, again, like I said, tell me what you think. I like them. I think some of them are really good. I think one is too overpowered, and that's that monster set. Other than that, I think that this is a great addition to the game. I think this is what the game needed. It needs something, even though I think that the gear sets for PvP is kind of like adding fuel to the fire with the problems. I do think that they're needed. So, yeah. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Other than that, you guys know what's coming next. If you guys like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you guys want to see more videos by me, you can subscribe. If you do subscribe, I do suggest you click that notification bell to be notified when I post new videos. Other than that, thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful day, and this guy might see you in game. Bye.